They started in a small office with a big dream, but Pixar's destiny was much more than they could ever imagine. Not only did they make some of the best films, but they created a whole new era of animation, sharing their mastery with the whole world. That would become the start of something big. In the early days, 3D animation was mainly used in live action movies as special effects, but not to tell stories. That all changed in 1986 when Disney released The Great Mouse Detective. The climax was a mix of both 3D and 2D animation, with the background being made first entirely 3D, and then the animators would go back and hand draw the 2D characters on top of the moving background. After each film, they added a new tool to 3D animation. The CAP system was a tool developed by Pixar where animators could digitally draw the 2D animation, making it considerably cheaper and faster to make 2D movies. The Little Mermaid was the last 2D movie to use the old ink and paint system. However, these achievements from this era eventually led to Disney joining Pixar on their most ambitious project yet, the first fully 3D movie. At the time, Toy Story was considered a very risky and expensive experiment, with Pixar needing to make all the technology and software from scratch. And when the movie released, it was like nothing the world had ever seen before. The floodgates were opened, and there was no going back. A few years later, Katzenberg was fired from Disney and joined up with Steven Spielberg and David Geffen to form DreamWorks. Their first project was The Prince of Egypt, a movie that was one of the most ambitious and beautiful 2D animated movies, but was swept under the rug when Pixar released A Bug's Life, a more cartoony 3D movie that would destroy Prince of Egypt at the box office with $363 million. This was the first real sign that things were about to change, with 2D becoming a thing of the past. In the early 2000s, 3D animation had gotten bigger and stronger, with more studios ditching the old 2D. DreamWorks, their first project, was an experimental 3D movie called Shrek. This film made DreamWorks Pixar's first real competitor, beating Pixar's Monsters, Inc. for their first Oscar for Best Animated Feature, and rocked Disney to its core with its financial success. Disney no longer owned the monopoly on animation. Shrek also showed the entire world that Pixar was not the only company that could make a successful 3D film, with new upcoming studios like Blue Sky and Nickelodeon soon to follow, with Ice Age and Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. After Shrek opened Katzenberg's eyes to how amazing 3D animation was, he started to mix the two art forms in his newest film, Spirit and Sinbad. After Sinbad failed to recoup its $80 million investment, it became clear 2D was not sustainable and that it was time to commit to 3D. Back at Disney, Pixar was the only thing keeping it relevant. Disney's own movies were a mix of 2D and 3D animation, with incredible action scenes that they thought could still compete in a changing industry. However, because of the huge costs of 2D movies, they couldn't break even. Treasure Planet became the most expensive 2D movie, costing $140 million, bombing at the box office and failing to make back their investment. If you didn't put it together already, this is where it was actually cheaper to make 3D movies, since animators could just keep reusing assets instead of recreating them. By 2003, 3D animation was capable of making ambitious films that were never thought possible. Pixar had become the messenger sent ahead to prepare the way for a new era of beautiful animation that 2D could not compete with. And for all the studios like Disney clinging to the past, the message was clear. Adapt or become nothing more than a forgotten memory.